If you've ever bought shares of GME after it traded up 65%, only to see it go up another 100% the next day, you're a wizard. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. We're back. Meme stock leveled up and got even crazier. So we're going to go ahead and trade it. Let's do it.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Good morning, everybody. And as Robert said, welcome to Meme Town. We are back. Happy Tuesday. Got my main man 13 in the back. You already know what we're going to be discussing today. So let's bring him on. 13. What do you make of what's going on?
I'll just be upfront with you guys. I really don't have much of a list this morning because it's all flooded with meme stocks. And yeah, I do see that Hollow, my old ex-girlfriend, is up there trading along with them. It even brought back Faraday Future. I thought that company was dead. Wow, what a resurrection this is. Let's have some fun.
I was going to say, it sounds like today is going to be fun. Now, let's get the boring SPY stuff out of the way so that we can talk about what everyone wants to talk about, I'm sure, which is the meme stocks. So here you go. We did have the, I believe it was the CPI today. Hang on a sec. Let me get that. PPI, excuse me. I always mix those two up. We did have the PPI print here today, 0.5 versus the 0.3 estimate. The core PPI month over month, 0.5 versus the 0.2 estimate. These are increases. PPI year over year, 2.2% in line with 2.2% estimate. So that is why the market reacted earlier here in the pre-market. If you look inside the SPY chart, you can see what's going on here. SPY actually dipped, got back to about even, and then kind of rolled over. So far, it's holding in there. One of the other things that we noticed here today is that the IWM, after its dip, this actually went green. So maybe some of the meme stocks playing into this one. We'll see where the market ends up going here. It is holding slightly lower from when that print was released. We're right about at that 520 level. So 13, you got anything here on the SPY that we should be aware of prior to today's session?
Oh, well, it's really just kind of, it did drop on that PPI print and it came right back up. And now we're back in that same area where we were before. So it seems like the market's kind of just shrugging off the PPI report so far that it's bringing up the IWM. I guess there's still an expectation of rate cuts. As far as levels go, we did see the price shoot down to 518.18, so just beneath that 518.30 level that I keep talking about. That's going to be a support target for today. We did try to get back above 521 yesterday. We couldn't close above it. Try to get back above it after that initial PPI drop. Couldn't stay above it for too long. So I think 521 is going to be a big resistance level today, and for support, that 518.30. Let's see which one breaks first.
Okay. Really good stuff there. We'll see how the meme market actually plays into this. Keep in mind, I think that you pulled the stat for this yesterday. Yesterday was the lowest volume day of the market all year. Yeah. And wasn't it lower than that half day volume that we got on the Friday after Thanksgiving in 2023? I believe that it was.
Oh, yeah.
So we've had really, really low volume, and that makes it much easier to push around even some of these indexes or some of these larger stocks. But that doesn't, there's other stuff going on here, and that is what we're going to talk about right now. First things first, a number of these meme stocks here are moving. So the first one on my list, we're actually going to start with SunPower here, just because it's first on the list. I'll go in order, but we're going to hit all of them. SunPower here. The catalyst is SunPower shares are trading higher as high short interest stocks gain amid the return of trader Roaring Kitty to social media. Additionally, the Biden administration raised tariffs on Chinese solar panels. So you actually have two catalysts going on here. You have the meme craze going on, and you have Biden taking a page out of Trump's book and increasing tariffs on solar panels here. That is driving ticker SPWR much higher here, 125.5% in the pre-market. This stock has a percent float of short of 59%. So over half of the float is shorted here on SunPower, 8.99 days to cover. This has got all of the makings of a squeeze in there, and it sure looks like that's what we're seeing here today. So 13, what do you got here on SPWR in terms of a trading plan or what you're looking at?
Haven't really looked at SunPower specifically, but the headline of the tariffs that the administration is trying to impose on different sectors, one of them being the solar industry.
Mhm.
I'm looking at different sectors that they're putting tariffs on to see if there's some other trades in there as well. This is obviously one of them, but there's other solar companies. Battery companies are going to probably get a bit of a boost as far as, from those tariffs. American ones anyway. Some car manufacturers that are stateside that are in the EV space. So basically, just look and see what China's going to, or what the U.S. is putting tariffs on, and look at the American side of it and see if there's those stocks are taking off. I expect that we might find a lot of good names in there that are going to do well from these tariffs on China.
To your point here, ENPH up here in the pre-market, that's going to be another solar stock. Another one that we generally take a look at here is going to be Sunrun. That's also up here in the pre-market. Neither of them are up to the degree SPWR is, because this is obviously participating in the short squeeze with it as well. Really good stuff there on the second catalyst there for SunPower. SunPower, as far as where we're at price-wise, as you can see, we traded up to about 750. We've come back in almost 2 full points, looking like we're going to the VWAP down there at about 5.5. So we'll see where SunPower actually kind of settles and if it gives us a trading opportunity. Okay, next one on the list here is going to be AMC, and this one also has another catalyst, if you will. Shares of meme stocks and high short interest stocks are trading higher after the retail investor Roaring Kitty made a return to social media on Monday via a post on X. The other thing here about AMC is they actually did an offering, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, with this all going on, I think all these companies would be stupid not to do offerings, frankly. And the pre-show fist fight this morning, 13 and I were going over this. AMC here, 250 million of new equity capital, priced at $345 a share. So the current price is $11.60. So this offering is 8 points lower than where the current price is right now. If we take a look at the short interest here on AMC, similar deal, although the numbers aren't as eye-popping. 18.4% of its float shorted, 2.8 days to cover here. AMC ripping here in the pre-market, though. This thing just an absolute monster. So this one on deck, this actually looks like a 12 test is coming here, and then maybe we test those all-time highs. I beg your pardon, pre-market highs. 13, you got anything else on AMC?
We were just talking earlier about how AMC, I don't know if theaters are making a comeback. I don't believe they are. I think too many people are interested in streaming and having a home movie theater. So I don't really see this company making a comeback. I think this is just a meme craze, and they would be right to issue more shares and complete their offering, because 345.
And that's what Humble Ninja is saying here. I don't think they did an offering. They completed an offering. This is what you said earlier, so I apologize for misspeaking here. You said that this one was already planned. It looks like they did it at that 350 price, though, from yesterday.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting that they may – okay, so what would I be watching for is if they, try to do something else with that. I don't know if they can go back to back offerings like that, but this share price is not what the company's worth, and I think they're going to be looking for ways to capitalize on that. These meme stocks, I'm going to be, if I'm going to trade any of these, I'm going to be very careful with these, because we could get offerings out of any number one of these
indeed
today. So just keep that in mind. We could see a massive rug pull if they want to try to take advantage of these high prices of their shares.
Yeah, and I mean, I know obviously from yesterday to today it worked. Buying it, holding it overnight worked. This is not something that I would ever do. Just go ahead, just saying that. We can use these as day trading vehicles and trying to be cowboys out here. That's fine, but would not have held these overnight anyway. Excuse me. And you're seeing the gains here. And the thing is that holding them overnight exposes you to that risk. If we do get a new filing, who knows what that's going to do to the price, and you could be in big trouble here tomorrow. So really good mention there. Oh, excuse me. On AMC. Okay, GME is next, and this is the big one of the entire group, right? I don't even think we need to read the catalyst. It's the same. Roaring Kitty is obviously looking at GME. GME went as high as $80. In fact, we double tapped 80. We have Prince at 80 here in the pre-market. It's really kind of come back into the VWAP. But it's actually bounced several times for the VWAP. In fact, right now, the formation that this is making, even though the volume is declining, the volume is still pretty hefty. This sure looks like it's going to try to take out this 72 level and make another dash for 80. Now, the question in the pre-show fist fight this morning, Alyssa was asking, do we think that this runs right out of the gate like it did yesterday? And I think that this could go either way, honestly. I absolutely could see it. I think that, Alyssa, you were saying that Roaring Kitty is just posting on Twitter like crazy. I don't even think I follow him.
Hey.
What's that?
I'm just saying, hey.
Hey.
All day yesterday, yeah. He was just posting nonstop.
Okay, and so it looks like there might be more of that here today. The chart, the price action here on GME looks pretty good. Looks like it's trying to go higher, but I really think this could go either way out of the gate. So I have a plan for both. I have the trading range that I marked off here from the pre-market. I mean, we'll see if it holds. I have that range from 80 to 56.80. So we have a 24-point range in there. 24-point range in there on GME. We'll see which way this goes, and we'll flip over to Trade the Pool, who sponsors the stream, by the way. So check out Trade the Pool if you need help trading some of these crazy stocks. What's up, 13?
Yeah, so GME, they did a bit of a double top here in the pre-market, and that just hammered the stock a little bit, but that's all over now, and it seems as though it wants to try to take another stab at 80. So let's break this 855 candle first, where we had a high of 72.
Yep.
Looks like we're trying to take that out right now. If we break 72, then we're going to be looking at 80 as the next level to break. This formation right now doesn't look bad at all. If we break 80, I'm going to be keeping an eye on 95. For some reason, I have 95 as a level marked off from, I guess, way back in 2021 for some reason. So 95 is going to be, we'll just call it the mystery upside target.
Well, that had to have been from the last time this thing went crazy.
Yeah, it was.
Right? Yeah, so I just can't remember exactly what that level defined, but that's really good stuff. STFU is saying here, I think a high of 80 or maybe even 120 and then a huge sell-off. And STFU, that could absolutely be possible. The one thing I will say is that when we saw this happen the first time, a number of the seasoned traders, including myself, were like, yeah, when stocks run like this, they often have humongous pullbacks. Well, it took a long time for that pullback to actually happen. And this is something that you want to watch on this one too. Okay. V8's crazy. There's no reason to spam. Please, just one post is fine. If you continue to spam, you'll be timed out. Let's try to keep the chat clean here, especially for today. Okay, next here after GME, we already did SPWR and AMC. We'll take a look at Hollow here. Joe, you ready for this one? Ex-girlfriend is
bring it
Hollow.
on.
Hollow traded up yesterday, traded up in the after-hour session, gapped up again here in the pre-market, took another leg up here right ahead of the open. Looks like it's pulling off those highs a little bit here. VWAP currently at 298, right under that $3 level, and we're sitting right here around 350. So what do you got here on Hollow?
I'm looking at a bull pennant right now. If we should see this kind of resolved pretty soon. It's likely going up a 4. If not, then this basically draw the pennant. I think that'll give you an idea of if it starts to break down or break out. That you'll know if this is going to go to 4 or if it's going to come back down to 3. By the way, 3 seems to be a good support level based on the early morning market highs that it put in. That was 303 exactly. So I'm just going to give technical levels because I don't know if there's anything fundamental driving this, because there are all these meme stocks are just going crazy for no reason. So it's just going to be technicals for me today.
Yeah. Okay. That takes care of Hollow. Next here on the list is going to be Plug. This also ripping here in the pre-market. This drifted up a little bit, but has really been ripping recently. Plug Power shares trading higher after the company received a conditional commitment for up to 1.66 billion loan guarantee from the Department of Energy. So Plug popping here. This sure looks like this is going to 5. You interested in Plug here today?
Here's the thing. If these, there goes Hollow. It just broke out of that.
All I had to do was switch away from it. New highs here on Hollow. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of this here today.
Yeah, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be technical trades. I don't have anything to really cover with any of these names. They're all running for this ridiculous reason. Let's just trade this momentum. I think that's really all that needs to be said about these.
Okay, indeed. Next one here is going to be SYRA. We've traded this one before off of the relative volume scanner. Sierra Health shares here are trading higher after the company said that it's subcontractors for Luke on a 10-year, $43 billion defense health energy contract. So it looks like we actually have an energy contract here on this one. This is popping here. It looks like 220 going to be the high spot. Again, here I'd play the technicals on this one unless you have something else.
This one actually was the only one that I could see out of the list of meme stocks we had in the immediate list. This one actually is not moving on the meme front. This actually has news of that it helped some subcontract for a defense health agency that has a contract of $43 billion. So the idea is that it's getting a piece of that, and that's why it's causing it to move. Now it's got a 4.28 million share float. Pretty easy to move around. So this would actually be one of the only ones that actually seems to have something fundamental behind it today.
So it'll be interesting to see if this kind of falls by the wayside or if this one has more staying power than some of these meme names. We won't know until we're actually in the session. So that's coming here. Next here is going to be costs. I'm not sure how much there is to cover on this one. This is one of the short squeeze candidates. We talked about this one yesterday. It's had another move right out of the open, very similar to GME. We drifted up the rest of the day. We drifted up in the after hours. We gapped up in the pre-market here today. Looks poppy going into the open. So we'll see what the first print is like here on costs. You have anything on this one? It's just a meme name.
It's a meme name.
Mullen, we're probably not, I guess there is a news catalyst here, so I might as well mention it. We all know what we think about Mullen.
Tariffs.
Mullen Automotive shares are trading higher after the company received $150 million capital infusion, including a $100 million financing commitment from a family office. So that here driving Mullen higher here. Mullen looks like we took out 8 and are pulling back. All of these stocks, we want to see how they set up when the market actually opens. You were saying something about tariffs on Mullen.
No, this is likely benefiting from the tariffs on China.
Gotcha. There you go.
So it's going to be the EV names that are stateside or that are basically not Chinese names.
There we go. Space, ticker SPCE. This is Virgin Galactic. This also participating due to the meme craze that we're seeing here. So again, a lot of these stocks here meme related. AMC, GME, Hollow, SPWR, COS, SPCE. We can even move to Big here, ticker BIG. This is Big Lots. TUP, also part of this. BlackBerry, part of this. BYND, part of this entire thing here. So a lot of these stocks really kind of going crazy. I think Maxon, this one is not part of it. This is another solar name, maybe related to the solar catalyst we discussed earlier. But as you can see here, tons of meme names on here. After Beyond Meat, we've got HKD here. That was a wild one from before. Clove, which we talked about a little yesterday. This has recently been a penny stock. This one is up here. So just tons and tons and tons of names. Let's check in on Reddit. This is another one. This traded up, did a really good job holding its gains, actually is trading up higher here in the pre-market. We're a little bit extended away from the VWAP. This thing feels like a really quick move from 50 to 63 here. So Reddit obviously participating with the meme craze as well.
Yeah, so there's going to be some pretty good amount of movement here in a lot of these names. So there's going to be opportunities for you to be capturing. This is also something, I don't want to give advice as I can't. But just keep in mind that these violent moves upward can also have violent moves downwards. And I do not want to see anybody get trapped in these. So if you're thinking about maybe holding this or keep, going in heavy and holding it into the day or week or whatever, just consider that a lot of these names are not going to stay up here. And you will lose everything that you put into it if you try to hold on to these thinking they'll continue to go higher. They've already seen that they won't back in 2021. It's not going to be any different this time.
Yeah, so it sounds to me like you're saying be tactical, right? If you're going to play these, be tactical. If you have a favorite one, whether it is GME, AMC, Beyond Meat, whichever one of these is your favorite, maybe focusing in on the trading that you're doing and staying as centered as you can amidst this craziness, probably might be one of your best moves. I know one of the things, like when you see odd market days like this, where there's just a ton of stuff just going crazy, and it feels like, boy, I could throw a dart at a dartboard and make money on everything. I understand. I I understand exactly why people think that, but that is not the reality. And like you were just saying, 13, a lot of these stocks are not going to hold these prices. So be very, very careful. Despite the excitement and the exuberance, protect your capital should be your first goal every trading day, and today is no different. So keep that in mind. This is not reality based.
It's a Jack be nimble environment.
Another good Daniel Torres here. Set a stop loss, protect your profit. You see me do this all the time. I mean, look, especially if we're going to be day trading these things like multiple times, if you miss the top, don't worry. If the volume and the momentum stays around, you could very easily get another chance at that trade. More important to keep your capital protected, no doubt.
Got a few minutes left before we open. Anything else that we want to look at before we?
I think we ran through them all there. I'm sure the chat will let us know if we missed anything. CTNT looks like that's getting mentioned here. Is that ticker correct? Cheetah Net Supply Chain looks like this is popping just now.
Wow.
Did we have any news on that? Yeah, it looks like pricing of a follow-on public offering
well above their share price.
Yeah. 62 cents. Okay, so CTNT, apparently offerings are bullish here this morning. Offering news bullish here. We'll see on this one. I want to wait for the dust to settle. I think that this is just some craziness going on with what's happening here.
Love float. No, not really shorted. They do a reverse split. Nope. I don't know anything about this company.
Okay, Lion Atlas here says going long AMC and GME puts. So it looks like you're doing a kind of a pairs trade there out of the gate. We'll see how that one runs. Let us know. Let me know, folks, what it is that you're trading here today. Should be a wild day. Yep.
Sorry. This is kind of interesting with this CTNT. It's a supplier of parallel import vehicles sourced in the U.S. to be sold in the China market. So this is, I think this is related to the tariffs.
Okay.
It's
interesting.
It is interesting. So, and they just had earnings yesterday too. I don't know a lot about this company, but it does seem interesting. This is, if I do trade this, it's going to be one of those in and out kind of things.
Yeah.
But this is crazy that I've just go to over 200% in such a short period of time. I was fine, we're searching around to sniff this one out, didn't they?
Just really, really crazy stuff here. Okay. We're going to get ready to open here. We're getting real close. MPW, by the way, this day had a huge run yesterday, intraday, right up to about 6:30. Well, guess what? We're drifting higher here in the pre-market, currently at 621. Look for that intraday high to get taken. This thing can move even more. If we see volume like we saw yesterday, that would be a telltale sign here. Looking good here in the pre-market. We'll see what happens when we actually get an opening print. In fact, the volume here in the pre-market is elevated from yesterday.
Looks like AMC is going to try to take out 1330. So we'll have to wait and see if that happens. It's kind of curling up. It's curling up to that right now.
1250 seems to be the current spot. GME pulling back to the VWAP here, or close to, or still 2 points away from the VWAP. My goodness. All right. I think today, waiting for the open to settle, probably not the best, or probably not the worst plan. Might do that myself. I mean, with GME here, I know kind of want to trade that out of the gate. All right, folks, let's get it rolling. It is go time. Let us know what you're trading here. I'm going to flip over to trade the pool. I'm just going to get that rolling right away.
All right, Palantir with a spike out the gate.
There we go. GME pulling back right out of the gate, coming into that 56.86 level. CTNT looks like it's lower from the open here. Hollow, that's right. I can't pull up Hollow in Trade the Pool. Well, I'll have to check in on that on Pro.
AMC trying to hold VWAP.
Yacht Insurance Guy, welcome back. That's okay. We kept the seat warm for you. Thanks for joining us. You picked a good time to come back, man. It's crazy. And this AMC so far has bounced off the VWAP. GME halted here downside. I got that at 60.38. I'm going to try not to come up with any early halt calls on GME today. I'll wait for signals to actually report that it's halted. This one is halted 9:30.28 to the downside here, GME.
CLD spiked out of the open, but it doesn't seem to be moving very quickly.
Which one?
That was CCLD. I believe that was from yesterday.
This was one from yesterday. CCLD. Can't bring that up in Trade the Pool. Let's take a look at big lots real quick. Big ripping out of the gate here. AI, we saw trade up. AI ripping out of the gate here as well. That's ticker AI, C3AI. Tesla ripping out of the gate here. Probably not on the meme names. It's probably more of the tariff stuff.
Yep.
I would imagine Tesla here ripping towards that 176 area. Apple also ripped out of the gate, printed a high of 188.30 and then came back in.
CVS had a nice move out of the gate.
Interesting here, NVIDIA lower. Remember, we got that report yesterday about the Chinese saying don't buy NVIDIA hardware. It sold off on that news and then kind of recovered. Looks like it is selling off again here today. We are actually above those lows from yesterday. We'll monitor that and see how long that lasts.
ENVX is doing something interesting here. If you look at like a chart over the, maybe a 5 or 15 minute chart over the past couple of days, you can see that we put in the high of 972. And
AMC halted, sorry.
No problem. The price is trying to make its way back up to that 972. This is ENVX. We could probably count on that trying to push its way up to that yesterday's high, maybe even trying to break it. But right now there's a wall at 950 it's got to get through. So keep that on your radar. ENVX, this has a nice movement.
Yeah, this is one that Zoltan, one of our news desk guys, has been following, said that this is also a potential short interest, a short squeeze type move here. ENVX, we're seeing that this morning.
Let's see. What else?
Jay, taking a look at Crocs. Does Crocs continue to perform? Sure does. Rip here out of the gate. I think you're probably still selling that here, Jay. That has always been a good winner. SYTA, that was another one with a catalyst that we saw here this morning. Looks like the first move here was higher, although that's kind of reversed. EBS. Sally, good morning. Good to see you. EBS, looks like that's trading up here. This is also the gift that keeps on giving. I got GME pulled up in another window here, so we'll take a look at that whenever that opens. That is still halted. Beyond Meat, this is moving to the downside. So far, the high print is in the pre-market. Looks like we had almost kind of a double top there. That really snapped its VWAP.
Rocket is
ticker RKT.
Yep. $15 has been a big level for Rocket. It's been smacked down there multiple times this year already. So getting through 15 and closing above it today and holding there would be a big move for this company. Yeah,
remember we had Stay Focused joining our chat yesterday saying he was looking for a Rocket trade out of the open, but the Schwab issues foiled that plan.
Hopefully he got a stab at it today because that's a nice move out of the open as well.
Jay, sorry about that. I must have missed that first comment. My apologies. You're mentioning ON here, which is having a good move here on earnings. Jay saying, I was referring to ON, third shoe company to have good earnings. Crocs, Skechers were the two others. ON here, positive earnings moving higher off that.
Where's Lion Atlas this morning? Every time I look at FMC, I think of him now. Oh, Palantir with a nice move today.
Collector, please stop spamming. We don't want to deal with spam, especially on a day like today. You're right about Palantir here. Power candle on volume out of the open. Coin moving up out of the open here.
Even Spirit Airlines is getting in on the squeeze.
SPWR looks like the slow-off might be selling, or the sell-off might be slowing down here a little bit. Easy for me to say, for heaven's sakes. GME still halted, watching that one top to the highs.
A slow-off. That's like what sloths do when they race, right?
Sloths. Hollow here, that was a nice little trade off the VWAP. Hollow looks like it's trying to go higher here. We'll see if it ends up testing 4.
Cost is halted too. Wow, I wasn't expecting Cost to really have that much movement.
GME is resumed now, 57. GME really moving to the downside. Here's that bottom end of the range that I had on Trade the Pool. We're right there. GME should halt if this holds here to the downside again.
It's looking like it might.
I'm not going to call it until it happens. When I made that mistake, not doing it again. There we go. Halt number 2 for GME to the downside at exactly $57.
All right. I might take a...
Charge point being mentioned. Charge point. This is pushing out of the open here. It's up about 30 cents from yesterday. Nova, this moving out of the gate here. This is Sunova Energy. This is going to be another solar issue. TUP at the highs. Looks like it took out its pre-market high. I think TUP was tweeted by Zach Morris yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. FFIE, this is Faraday that you were talking about. This is a 9-cent, 10-cent stock here. I'm not going to trade this, but it's worth mentioning that this one is going up.
It's funny because I thought that company was dead.
AMC right at the VWAP here. Looks like it's trying to move beneath it.
I lied. Webcoin
Lion's busy. Lion's got a lot on his plate. A lot going on here this morning, as we've seen.
Webcoin mentioning Vuzix, VUZI.
Cost. This is another one of those short ones. This halted, but this one to the upside. Actually, I don't know if this is halted. I don't see it reported in here. Yes, it is. Excuse me. Cost halted to the upside here.
Yeah, the Vuzi news is interesting. Garmin and Vuzix signed a multi-phase development contract for next generation nano-imprinted waveguide-based display system. Lots of big words in there. Don't know what they all mean, but it seems like that's a lot of improvement over what their current product is, and that could drive sales. So it's going to be something in the future that could be good. But
Vuzi here holding higher. I've got that 100-day at 159 on the daily. That might be a spot there. CTNT doing a good job so far holding its VWAP, looking like it's trying to go here, trying to break out of this consolidation area. Nick, good to see you this morning. Hopefully you're doing well. Nick mentioning Plug. This broke beneath its VWAP. This actually looks like it's coming lower here.
Yeah, Rocket getting rejected at $15 again. Man, it just never fails with that one. I still want to see that $15 level get taken out, and then we could really see some squeezing happen.
MaxN holding above its VWAP. Smoke Tuna calling Nova. Looks like that one's going higher here now in Nova. Here's Hood. This also being mentioned here. Hood broke out of that $17 or that $18 level.
Looks like Nova has an upside target of 525. That seems to be about the high from a couple of Fridays ago on the 3rd of May.
PSFE, this is PaySafe Limited. They had earnings yesterday. They're trading higher here.
No, I'm not, Sam.
I'm not an AMC, no. If I trade any of these wild names here today, I would probably be targeting GME, not AMC. But ultimately, we have to wait for the setup. Right now, waiting for some of the dust to settle here.
DJT blasted off to 55, got rejected twice, putting in some ugly wicks. This one could be coming down.
Okay, we saw this one kind of curl and move up yesterday. Maybe we get the opposite type of move here today. So far, holding above the VWAP there at 53.78. TGTX, this one's higher here. This has been a favorite of this show. Highly shorted. Nice little move up here out of the gate. Now, Hollow is actually at a pretty interesting point here. Hollow did come all the way back down to the VWAP and is trying to bounce here. So the one thing I will say here, Hollow, we continue to see this volume contract. That's generally speaking not what we want to see for one of these continued upside moves. Not getting it yet here in Hollow. Good morning, Wisdom. Hope you are doing well and you're ready for Wild Day number 2. CTNT, indeed, this looks like this is trying to go to 5, although it is kind of slowing down a little bit here.
Chewing through that support at 450. Might be losing it, going to VWAP. VWAP
on which
about
one?
410. This is CTNT.
TUP looks like this is trying to break and move higher here on TUP.
AMC halted again.
Hollow, by the way, continuing to bounce. 350 coming on Hollow. AMC is halted to the downside here, 1010. Yeah, I can't bring that one up in Deep Space says, I'm lost. Too many names. That was exactly why one of the things that I was saying about your trading today, we're going to keep calling what we see moving, and there is a lot moving, at least so far. GME open here, by the way, moving lower. See if the traders can end up bouncing this. GME 50 print coming. This is why I was saying focus on the one that you want to trade, right? There's a lot going on. We're calling a bunch of different names, a lot of different stuff moving here. Safest thing that you can do, or the best thing that you can do, focus on one of the names that you want to trade, whether it's you have a position in it or you like it or whatever, and then maybe just focus on that one. GME continuing to move lower here. Beyond Meat, after its sell-off, looks like it's trying to reclaim the VWAP. This would be an interesting spot to watch here. If it can reclaim this on volume, we'll see. GME continuing to move lower as we broke 50 now. This would halt if this holds here on GME.
To answer Sam's question about why indices are trading higher with the PPI number, it would seem to me that they should be going lower, but the way that we have such little participation in the market from actual traders, it's mostly just algos driving this, is that as soon as that PPI number came out and we saw the market drop, algos bought that up right away and drove the market higher. So I think this is mostly being driven by just, programs, moving the market, not so much on the print as it is just on the reaction of where the price action was going. That's my read on it anyway. Well, CTNT just whips around so much. It went down to VWAP.
Let me bring that into focus here.
Crazy stuff. Nice line. DXYZ breaks out of its range any moment. That'd be cool. All right, CTNT going higher, or at least trying to come back up to the initial pop out of the gate. Trying to get back above 5. Are we just also enthralled with what's going on? We can't talk.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was
No
actually
worries.
looking at something on another screen here. I'm
No
actually
worries.
kind of waiting for GME to open here. CTNT halted
There we
to
go.
the upside. Now it is the time.
There we go. Yeah,
CTNT halted to the upside here, by the way.
Maybe I did get out at a good time with CTNT. I was buying at VWAP and it took off. But cool. Let's go find the next one. Rocket. I'm still looking at $15 to break. It looks like it really wants to take that out too. And if it does, we could really see this thing start to move. It's got a pretty nice short interest too. Let me get you the exact figure on that. That is 13.5% with 6.5 days to cover.
Love this here, Robert. Kept a few CTNT. Looks like you sold into that pop to pay yourself and then kept some as a trailer. It's one of the things that we've been discussing on how to trade some of this wild stuff here today. Really good stuff on that, Robert. We'll get you one up right out of the gate. SPCE looks like this is trying to bounce off the VWAP, although this bounce looks a little bit less enthused than the first one.
Okay, I'll take a look at
ENVX might be trying to go higher here above 955. Yeah, DJF saying flip a coin on GME. See, that's what I'd rather not do. I'd rather this come to a spot where I feel like the next move, the odds are in my favor in whatever way that is. I'd rather not flip a coin, frankly. But I mean, you tell me if you can make sense of the move that we have here so far. DKNG at the highs. That is a nice little run up here on DKNG. We really kind of want to break out of this flag that we're in. A 45 break to the upside would be pretty good long term.
Lion, HBM is awesome. They had nice earnings. And this is an interesting copper play. My thought on copper is that we're going to, be seeing a lot of uses for it going into the future. It's going to be a very important commodity. So this is, and they produce not just copper, but it looks like gold as well. Interesting miner. Thank you for putting this on my radar.
AMC is open here. That is moving lower on AMC. Interesting. It doesn't say that it's halted, but I don't see it moving. Up, halted again. That's why. It was getting ready to halt again. Another downside halt here for AMC. That is 3 halts, 3 downside halts on AMC. Hollow back towards the VWAP here. We'll see if it holds that.
I think with AMC, you're going to want to see it hold 8. It seems like in the pre-market, that's the level it was coming down to and getting bought right back up was about 808. So let's call 8 the big level of support that needs to hold.
Okay. Still waiting on a GME resumption here.
Who's throwing big money at these names? It could be just a lot of small retail traders just throwing a little bit money. Just a lot of them throwing a little bit of money at it. That's how this whole thing worked last time. I think the algo is maybe getting a little bit more into it this time. But as far as who has all the money that's throwing it into these names, I don't think it's just any one or two or a few people. It's just a whole bunch. They're just looking for something to do.
GME is open here. Looks like that first move here was lower, but for the first time on one of these halts, it looks like it's trying to bounce. Jay Rice saying, like I said in the 8 a.m. show, if you're buying AMC and GME today, you're doing it backwards. Suppose that is definitely true. I mean, if you're just trying to scalp some of the action here, this is where the action is. But I agree with you that the big move here was yesterday. I wouldn't have held it overnight, though. Yeah, so DJF bringing up a really good point here, and this is one of the things that happens to me. You're actually seeing it happen to me. The meme stock thing is a distraction. It's making me hesitant to take other positions I was planning on. Totally understand that. Kind of going through that myself here. I mean, these are not any of the stocks that I'm looking at for a serious trade, but it's clearly where the action is. GME looking like it's going to try to move lower here. Broke 47 to the downside. We'll see if it breaks 46.
Yeah, and if sometimes these markets, when they get crazy like this, it's sometimes good just to sit on your hands. If it's not providing any trades, it's better to just not lose money than try to than lose money trying to gain it.
GME trying to go higher here.
All right, Rocket finally broke 5. It's not moving a whole bunch yet, but let's see if we can hold this level for now. It might get going in a bit.
GME, this might be halted to the upside here if it holds. It did not hold. Coming back down now.
Sizu with just a sudden and out of nowhere spike from about the mid $6 area to low 7s. ENVX looks like it's trying to push higher. Current high is 954.
GME coming back to that 46 level, now into a 45 handle, but it's bouncing again. I'll tell you what, when it tries to make these down moves, there are definitely buyers stepping in and trying to buy this back higher. So I don't think this story here is over today by any stretch.
And there goes the NVX.
Here's GME trying for 50. God, I want to trade this so bad. But I know it's dangerous. Unable to hold it there as it came back in. I'm just kind of watching the level 2, and it's just wild. It is just wild. 49.84. That looks like that. Nope. Hold it back off. Here, we're going to halt if it holds here. I'm going to not make this halt color. This might be the bounce. I'll be interested to see how this ends up coming out of the halt. If this does in fact halt. Bang, halted. GME, 4th halt. This one now an upside halt. So this one a little bit different. No position in it.
SDFU, I only looked at it once today. I have all of the names of all the ex-girlfriends that I keep cycling through because, hey, they like to come back and bother us. Knock on our door, There was somebody else that it was, at Lion Atlas. Dude, hey, Why don't you just lock in those gains, man? You did really well with FMC. I don't think it hurts to take some off the table. I mean, I've been taking some profit in that too. Still have my long-term hold. I'm not touching that one until we see 100. ACHR looks like it's putting in a bit of a, well, it's a bullish formation. It's either going to be, we're either looking at here a flag or a pennant.
AMC is open,
but it looks like we're trying to take out 402 at some point here. AMC open. Let's take a look.
Yep.
And GME is still halted. All right. No, AMC looks like it's probably going to go lower unless buyers start to step in. Is it halt? It's halted again. AMC. What happened? What happened to Ryan? Did he say he had to go? I didn't hear that. All right. Tough to say no to a one morning stand. I mean, I'm just gonna leave that alone. AMC halted. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't seem like that was a whole lot of volume either. Jay's life. I had nothing to do with that. I promise. Anyway, let's see what we got here. XOM. AMD is better than AMC. I agree. At least AMD has a product people want.
Hollow continuing its bounce here, 355 on Hollow. Here, let me bring that up here so you can see that here. Hollow looks like it is trying to move here. MaxN on the move, you guys are mentioning. That was one that we took a look at this morning. MaxN that's continuing to move higher here, not the craziness in some of these other names.
Solar. Let's see.
Plug reclaiming its VWAP here.
Palantir looks like, I mean, the volume is going away in it, but it looks like it's trying to take out 2153.
Strong move after that move down off earnings. This stock definitely hard to trade. Got to have a long-term approach.
Rocket's still looking good. We're 15 cents above that big resistance level. Looking good. Now, if some of these other names would turn around, I'd be a pretty happy guy.
BlackBerry turned around. That's coming to the low. Maybe curling here on BlackBerry.
I think that thing was like over $4 this morning.
Still halted. How's SPWR? It's trading sideways here. But that went from 9 to 16 cents. Top still holding above its VWAP. Reddit here. This did turn around right at that 6250 area. Looks like that turned around.
Got anything I mentioned with Rivian.
Take a look at Rivian.
It's moving.
Yeah, Rivian actually looks like it's trying to take the top off here.
I mean, it seems like you could have just jumped into all the American EV names and you would have done just fine today.
Yeah, it does seem like that.
Yeah, Archer and FMC both looking like they want to take out the morning pop.
Nice. We'll take that. CTNT getting mentioned here. Oh, that's still on a halt. We're still waiting for GME to open. That was halted to the upside, 49.84 here. Big moving to the highs, by the way. That's big lots.
SoFi, what's going on? I mean, I don't know if we could consider one of those to be the meme stocks. I know that it was around the same time that these were moving. That was a SPAC, I believe.
GME is open. Moving higher here out of that halt, 51.50.
Oh, well, also with SoFi, it's got a high short interest, so it's one of the squeezes. Yeah, that's got to be what it is too. One of the squeezes. Rocket now printing a high of 1532. Loving it. Yeah, some of these names still pushing higher.
GME trying to take out 53 here.
So if it looks like it wants 8, no guarantee that it gets there. It just looks like it's wanting that.
GME trying to take out 54 here. Looks like it was rejected right at 54. And it's coming back on. Was able to try some right here, and it's moving higher now.
Well,
let's see if it goes to that. Let's see if it goes to that VWAP. Maybe
SoFi pays you today, yacht insurance guy. Sam, I think that would be healthy for the market if the markets do end up going lower. I'd like to see the markets correct so that we can end up going higher. I think that'd be healthy.
Scalped GME right there because didn't want that to go red, and here it comes back in. We'll wait for this to set up again. There you go, back sliving on the wild side, scalping these things you can't make sense of. Not a bad bounce though off that low on GME. That was the trade, not the scalp near the top.
Well, STFU, great job.
Real quickly, Sam, I actually don't have an active short. We were talking about this in happy hour yesterday, looking to maybe start nibbling on a short on the tech side, but nothing opened up yet on that. Bind hit VWAP. Let's take a look here at that one. I know that was moving earlier. That hit VWAP. Actually, it's trading above it here. Watch to see if this 920 gets taken out. What do we have that pre-market high on Beyond Meat? We had that up here at about 990. So you got almost a full point here, 70 cents at least if this 920 falls.
Palantir new highs, but the formation makes me think that it's going to roll over. I just don't know when.
That 920 on Beyond Meat fell. So there's a little bit of size above here, but they're not having any trouble taking it. The one thing I'm noticing here on Beyond Meat, the volume is starting to curl back up. If that continues to expand, this has the juice to go.
Looks like BlackBerry is getting mentioned, turning around after it got some support from the consolidation and pre-market at this level.
Sorry to interrupt. GME fifth halt. This one also to the upside, $55.
Oh, that's a good point. Let me take a look at some of these marijuana stocks, see what they're doing. I don't think they're part of the meme craze, but they were trading around that same time as well. So let me see. Oh, Telray's up 8.5%.
Are they all? Sundial, I'm looking at here. Sundial's up. CGC, we'll take a look at here. CGC, that's about flat.
Yeah, slightly up. ACB, I think is the other one. Yeah, that's up almost 7%. Cool. Seems like it's just, early 2021 again.
AMC right back at the VWAP here, 1042. That was a nice bounce there on AMC. That is also halted. Fifth halt for AMC, fifth halt for GME. These last two both to the upside.
Brian, do you remember when this was happening in 2021? What followed? It seems like it seemed like
meme crazy.
Yeah, what followed, because in 2021 we did have this. We had a lot of things getting crazy running. Small caps were doing super great. Then that all changed after the first quarter. Things started changing, and everybody started rotating into value.
You think that's going to happen again here?
We'll see, but because it's hard to say because of the way that where rates are right now. They weren't at that same level, and value was much more attractive. But as soon as if we do get a hint of rate cuts, value stocks could end up being better again, because they'll end up producing a higher annual yield from their dividends than you would get with bonds if we do start to get those rate cuts below the bond rate.
Now, we do have Powell talking today. Are we expecting anything new from this? Let me look here. Powell, 10 a.m. So that is right now, actually. Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaks at 10 a.m.
Well, let's see what's happening here. What are the markets doing? What are the uranium stocks doing? Are they up this morning? Because we have that ban on Russian uranium coming into effect at some point, right?
So that's going to be Ura, CCJ, CCCC. Those are about flat here, up minorly. Up minorly. Sally here asking, Reiner13, do you have the days to cover on SPWR? Yes, days to cover 8.99. That is as of the last update, which was April 24th. So actually, we're actually due for another update here to the short interest. I'll ping the news desk here today and see if we've got that yet. But that's your short interest there, Sally. Last reading I have 8.99.
Getting a lot of sideways action in some of these names now. How about you? Are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the meme stocks, so there's very little sideways in those. There's a lot of up and down. But when I start to check some of the regular stocks, yeah, it does look like we're. In fact, I think it was SPWR. Yeah, this one here, SPWR. This had a huge move here near the end of the pre-market, gave everything back, and is right back where it was consolidating from the pre-market. So that's kind of slowing down. Zim getting its first mention here. Zim 19. Looks like this tested 1940. Man, that Zim trade. Kudos to you on that one. Glad we played that.
Yeah, and I'll be kicking myself if it continues to rip into triple digits. I don't think it will go that high, but if it does, man, we got out too early. Go ahead.
GL continuing to trade up here. Lion Atlas mentioning that one. That was such a good move off that short report. ON. This actually might be curling as it moves through the VWAP there on ON.
Elon, if you made some money off that, I'm glad it worked out for you, man. ENVX still moving up. I still have that yesterday's high at 972 that I think we're going to be seeing it print here. It's we're only 12 cents away, so.
JJ saying here, this meme stuff totally distorts the market. I completely agree with you, JJ. And look, in my opinion, when stuff starts behaving crazy like this, no problem with sitting on your hands and not participating with it. I know, you look at this and think, oh, the huge gains. Well, there could also be some huge losses. So I get kind of sitting on your hands. GME is open here.
This is a day that's going to test your discipline.
And indeed it is. Well said, 13. An immediate pullback here out of that halt so far on GME. We'll watch if this rockets higher. Wouldn't be shocked if it did that. No position on this one. GME looks like this is trying to go higher here, honestly.
And, it can do whatever it wants.
It can do whatever it wants. Don't forget that.
So, I think somebody was asking, would it be a good idea to do puts on this? If you feel like you want to short this, that's your money to lose. I don't think a short now would be great. I think wait until some of this excitement dies down, because as soon as the shorts come in, I have a sneaking suspicion that they're just going to wait until they start enough shorts pile in, they're going to squeeze them again. We've seen that happen to some of these semiconductor stocks. It's absolutely murdered all the shorts. It's murdered all the shorts in the entire market. So I wouldn't want to. Voodoo. Yeah, take care. This day is a waste. Yeah, I got you, man. But just be careful with shorting. This year so far, shorting has not worked out very well. It has worked out some, but just not great.
GME coming in now, 53.
Yeah, that's a good point. Be fearful when people are greedy, and the opposite, vice versa.
All right, let's see where this GME pullback stops at. Looks like we might halt if this price level holds 52.48. I'm not going to call it until it is actually halted.
Wisdom. You always make me laugh. I didn't even
GME halted again. Sixth halt, this one to the downside. AMC looks like this is rejected at its VWAP and moving to the downside here.
Okay. Some things pulling back, some things still ripping. Looking like there's a little bit of tiredness happening in some of these names. The NVX almost there. $9.64. What does that put us? 8 cents away. Cool.
Let me look at the options market here and see. I do see AMC call. I guess those are cheapies. They really don't cost a whole lot. I am seeing some repeat flow there on AMC. Interesting. I'm seeing more on AMC than GME. There is some in here. There's 100K buy. GME calls. 63K buy. 90K, 97K buy. Okay, so there's GME calls going on in here. GME and AMC calls both active on the unusual options scanner.
Yeah,
Lakshmi, we do not give recommendations. We cannot tell you, well, you should buy or sell something. We're just talking about the different stuff that's moving in the trades that we're doing here. We're not licensed and cannot give investment advice.
Looks like PLTR. Oh, there is new highs trying to break out of that high they made 15 minutes ago. Now it's 21.61. It's a great call, Elon.
They're playing the Powell talk on CNBC right now. Can't hear it, but they're playing it. I guess he's live in Amsterdam. Yeah, Jay, I completely agree with this. Jay's saying on AMC and GME, and I guess you could maybe kind of stretch that across some of these other meme names. The easy moves are over. It gets more difficult now. And you might see some really violent pulls, violent bounces. And if you're on the wrong side of that trade, it could look really, really ugly.
Yep. Elon, yeah, it was a killer call. Palantir just pushing up into new highs. Looking at what Powell's been saying, and he's really talking about the labor market a lot. I think he really wants to see unemployment at 4%.
Bosch, welcome, Bosch. Good to have you here. That's right. I can shake hands with Powell. He's one block away. Well, if you do that, let us know how it goes. I would imagine he'd have a firm handshake. Lots of fake news coming from Powell, says Lynn. Yeah, it looks like they had said that households are in good shape financially. I wonder what he's looking at. I know that they're moving more stuff to credit cards, which isn't going to end well.
He's certainly not looking at the report that the New York Fed puts out about household debt being at record highs. If he thinks that households are doing well, racking up that debt, not having a way to pay it. Oh, wait, they have all this untapped equity in homes. Let's do a HELOC. That's what's happening.
I know. AMC right back at its VWAP here. It looks like it's trying to take this out. It was rejected here the last time we had a pretty good test of it on AMC. So let's see if things change here. NVAX back up to the highs. This has been a wild one. Yeah, Elon, totally. I would completely agree with Joel. Protect your capital on these meme trades. Absolutely. The number one job that you can do here today is protecting your capital. If you can't make sense of any of these wild movers and you're not sure how to trade them, don't worry about it. You got multiple people in the chat here saying how much of a distraction it is and how their regular moves are, being changed by all of the attention. So you do not have to participate if you don't feel comfortable. Protecting your capital is always the best idea. Always.
All right, the NVX 2 cents away from that yesterday's high. After it hits there, we should either break out or pull back, and we'll end up with a bit of a cup and handle formation if it pulls back.
SPWR getting a mention. This finally broke out of that sideways area and is trying to take the VWAP.
Thanks for that point, STFU. That's great. We have to tell everybody that we cannot be given recommendations. Absolutely, 100%. Go and find yourself a licensed fiduciary. They will be working in your corner for your financial future.
And you know what, 13, even when the meme stock craze isn't going on, even if you're trading an active account for yourself, it's still not a bad idea to have someone else in your corner helping you out. Diversification, really, really smart thing. If this stuff, even this meme stuff, if this stuff interests you folks, I advise having some type of financial advisor. GME is open at 55.10. Huge pop right out of that halt. It is still open here. Looks like it's trying to go higher here.
So I'm just reading what Powell is saying.
Yep, I'm kind of just watching GME here. Feels a little bit heavy here, but every time it does that, it just kind of rips right through it.
So Powell is saying that he's not confident, is not as confident that inflation is going to get back down to levels more like last year.
All right, trying some more GME here. Nope, that one fell out of bed. I actually reduced my size on this one. See if this can retake 55 here.
How much did the market slow down today?
Nope, big move down here.
Would it surprise you to know that we are trading less volume than we were yesterday at the same time?
No, it actually wouldn't. GME, this one looking like this is going to roll over here on GME. Actually going to halt to the downside here. GME is slowing down. Jay Rice, what you were saying earlier about the trades getting harder, that is 100% correct. And actually this now bouncing here, this actually looked like this was going to go lower and is bouncing. This is exactly what Jay Rice was talking about. And full disclosure here, the buy on this was a complete gamble. Working off profit and reduce some size here. Let's see if this can actually move higher here now on GME. There's 55. This is kind of where it stopped before. So you really want to see this area kind of get taken out here. 56 looks like the area where that candle stopped.
I'll do that for you, STFU. What time frame are you looking at, STFU? Sorry.
Nope, all good.
SoFi's beautiful trend line. I want to see this trend line you're talking about. Just got to give me a time frame.
GME, it actually looks like this is compressing here, so it's going to need some type of juice to take it out of this area for it to start going again. I still have the VWAP at 58.5, so it's a couple of points higher from where we're at here.
So STFU, if I'm looking at the trend line you're talking about, I think it's from where we about the time we opened till now. It's following this trend line up every time it comes back in. It's like almost the same trend line as a 20 SMA. That's what it seems to be following, the trend line. It looks like it's trying to hold above this trend line as we speak, and it might call into question whether or not it's going to break down here from that. Is that what you're seeing as well? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
And real quickly here on GME, the price action here totally feeling a little bit more heavy. It's going to make a decision, I think, here pretty soon. It's either going to break down from this area. I think I have the bottom end of this area right about 53 and the top end of the area 56. So it's trading back and forth in this area now. We'll see which end of this ends up getting taken out. Before it had no trouble moving above 55. It actually seems to be having trouble doing that now. We'll see if that changes here. On GME,
Sarah Sassy, there is a slight delay between when we're talking, making all the audio and everything go through all the internet tubes and come out to your screen. There is a bit of a delay.
There is.
Sorry about that.
We don't actually set any delay. It's just the natural delay of the internet that 13 was just describing.
It's funny, you got a little bit of lag when you were explaining that too. So
there you go. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, Sam, I hold a good amount of RTX and Lockheed Martin. Those are my defense ones. I was holding ITA because I like that ETF. But what I do is like I'll either go and hold the the direct underlying, or if I'm in and when I'm done with that, I'll go back to the ETF, and I just rotate back and forth. When I'm not sure about just the regular stocks themselves, I'll go into an ETF and let somebody else manage it, and I tend to do better that way. But yeah, I do like aerospace and defense. I think, oh man, now that I'm thinking about it, I keep thinking about the one trade I should have taken that I didn't. It's the best one I called this year and that I didn't take. Best one by far. You know
which one?
Is, Ryan.
Which one? RTX. It was
no. I have that one.
Oh, AV.
Yeah,
my bad. No, we talked about that one a lot. Yeah,
it's just that it was pretty pricey, so I didn't pick any up, and I wish I did because that was such a huge move. And I was talking about it when it was in the 140s, and now it's it got as high as 190 something the other day. So that was a trade I didn't take that I should have. Can't be in everything, unfortunately.
Nope. No, you cannot. Jimmy's still kind of messing around with this range. We'll see which.
I love you guys. Everybody's all, hey, RSVN, old girlfriend alert. Oh, man. So Rail Vision's back, huh? Sure is.
Shay, you must have just joined not long ago. We have been saying that for 2 days now. And actually, the first time that this ran up, we mentioned the manipulation aspect of it as well. Another reason to be a little bit more safe with some of these trades. Reduce size, proper risk tolerances, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's a whole lot more to discuss. Yeah, we know it's being pushed around and it's being manipulated, but I don't think that we're going to be in any position to do something about it other than trade it. We have talked about it this morning, and we talked about it yesterday.
And you know what's interesting here that I'm seeing in the price action? This is very much like yesterday. If you remember, GME yesterday popped, came back in, and then kind of traded sideways for a little bit. It's doing the same thing, except today when the pre-market opened, it actually sold off and bounced a little bit back there. So still holding in this same range here.
I mean, DJAF, the only, upside target I have for GME is 95. I put it up there for some reason back in 2021. Don't know why. That's just what I'm going to go with. Maybe we get it, maybe we don't. I really don't care. This thing, GME can do whatever it wants.
It's going to test 55 here, and there's a little bit of size there. Looks like it went right through it, kind of started ripping. So we'll see at 56. This is where it really kind of failed the last time. We'll see if 56 can go down. Wow, big pull there, pulled it right back to the 53. This thing all over the place. This is another reason why I don't have stop set in here, because if I did, this thing would have just been back and forth. I'd have been stopped out of it already. I'll wait and see which end of this we break out of.
Been a good day, all things considered.
Yeah, it sure has. I mean, given the craziness, thankfully I've kept the craziness localized here to the prop account. But the regular account, not participating in the craziness, doing okay, just kind of hanging in there. It just goes to show you that if you need to, you don't need to participate in the wildness, right? You can kind of sit it out. There's other stuff to do.
Powell really throwing cold water on the rate hike idea. Housing inflation has been a bit of a puzzle. I don't think it has. You're just not looking in the right spots. You go right to New York and you can look all around and see that the influx of immigrants and just getting housing for free is absolutely helping. We have so many people coming into this country, nowhere to put them. And you have people coming to this country with money, not just from South America, but from other parts of the country, of the world, bringing in a lot of money, paying cash for houses, helping the price.
GME looks like this might break down here. Price action feels that way as well.
I mean, I think the only thing about rate hikes that was being talked about is how inflation hasn't come down. It's kind of been sticky lately, and everybody's talking about They're bringing
Closed
back
GME as
Volcker.
that broke out of its formation here. So second trade, no go on GME. This actually might get halted to the downside. Look out. It's got a hold here. Sorry, 13. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's okay. Just kind of like giving a little bit of information about what Powell is talking about here and what he's thinking. I mean, their only goal is to get inflation down to a certain part. They have only so many levers they can pull. We need to get some help from Congress, in my opinion, in order to get some more of these things under control, and they're just not getting that.
Home Depot, amidst all of the wildness here, Home Depot reported earnings. Their initial move was up, went lower. Now it's back to about even on Home Depot. Yeah, looking around, the rest of the market seems rather normal. Tesla might be curling back up.
Fairchild, my opinion on politics has no bearing on this whatsoever, and it's not going to create trades. The only thing we can do is just know what both parties their plans are and what they're going to do, and try to prepare for trades like that. Here's a great example that just happened today. We knew these tariffs were happening, so we could have.
PRB 1 sec 13.
No problem. We could have prepared for that by looking at names of where in the sectors they were putting tariffs in. That was specifically the solar, the battery, and the EV sectors. And sure enough, we had that happen. We had this rally. Now these are all plays. These are all like the kind of ESG plays that Democrats have been trying to push out lately. So we know that, and it's meant to reduce emissions and all that. So that's the side that they like to play, and Republicans like to play the oil and gas side. So as long as we know what each party's doing, we can prepare and just be ahead of the game for when they try to hand down legislation. We're not trying to make this a political thing. We're just trying to make some trades and make some money. And just having that knowledge is helpful. Just it's better to keep politics at the door when you come to trade. You can get pretty emotional like that. You can think, well, I'm not going to trade this if so-and-so is in office. I've heard a lot of people say, or I've not a lot of people, but I've been told that there were some folks that just avoided participating in the market when Obama was in office, and well, they missed out on one of the greatest bull markets in history. So I don't think it serves anybody any good purpose to bring politics into your trading plan or your trading thesis. Just know how the different parties operate and how they're going to set the market up for you to trade, and just trade it that way. I don't think it's worth bringing politics into your trading.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. GME is halted, by the way. That is to the downside. GME on its 7th halt, AMC on its 6th halt. I think those most recent ones were both to the downside. Indeed, they were.
Okay. It's interesting that Home Depot's not down more. It looked like they didn't guide as well. Usually when you have lowered guidance, that tends to lead to more of a sell-off than what we're getting here.
CTNT rolled over and lost its VWAP. Hollow holding at 334. SYRA beneath its VWAP, although it is trying to reclaim that here. SPCE Virgin Galactic, this actually moved off its VWAP.
PLTR is approaching 2. Just
oh, good call, Sally. Mara's breaking out here. This actually broke out of that first impulse move here on Mara. Sorry, 13. I didn't mean to run you over there.
No worries. Let's see here.
EGTX holding higher here. Netflix trying to go higher. Goldman Sachs trying to go higher. SPY at the highs. What was that level, that upside level again, 13? I've got SPY here at 522. It was 524.60 something?
Oh, for the all-time highs, so we're double topping? Yeah, the all-time high is 524 and 61 cents.
Siam, if you don't like the conversation, you can just hit the little X in the upper right corner. That'll solve it for you.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of things just kind of going sideways at the moment.
Yep.
There's some setups happening. I mean, like look at ENVX. That ended up breaking through the 972 level, and now it's support.
BYND back up near the intraday high here. GME open now. Looks like that one's moving lower.
You know, it's interesting that Bitcoin is going up. I mean, it is and it isn't. We're in a risk-on environment. We were talking about that yesterday. So Bitcoin is going to be part of that environment. We'll see some of these move as well. Bitcoin is also kind of a big thing happening at the same time these meme stocks were. So to have that relationship trade, it's definitely going to be there.
Yeah, and the Bitcoin names, at least you should be able to find some pretty decent names in there. I mean, we've been watching the miners for a while. AMC also open here, and this is actually trying to bounce back towards the VWAP.
Yeah, like Coin had the best run out of all of them, but it's really come back in.
GME bouncing now.
Coin actually down 38%.
Watch it completely take this little sideways area out. Palantir, just a nice rip.
Going to 22, and then we'll see what happens there. There's a lot of sell orders in the way.
You know, to your point about Bitcoin 13, Coin here at the highs as well. Actually, it looks like it just set some new highs here. We already took a look at Mara breaking out. Sally's got her eye on that. CLSK towards the highs here. Looks like all of these Bitcoin names moving higher here. Bitcoin off the bottom, off that 61,500 level.
Getting a question about what do we think about gold? Just real briefly, gold, you know, great store of value. There's a great time to buy it and hold it, and there's a great time to sell it. And those times tend to be few and far between, in my opinion. One of the things that you're gonna, I think that you want to pay attention to with gold is inflation, and we have a lot of inflation that's going to continue to happen right now. So gold and silver could continue to be pretty good, as long as we're not taking care of inflation, because we're just continuing to borrow to pay the debt. We have debt on top of debt now, so gold could continue to be good. I just don't know for exactly how long, because that will get to be a bit of a tired trade, and the values will come back down a little bit. Let's see what happens.
Okay, it's been a crazy market so far here today. We're going to keep covering it, but I did want to bring on a special guest here who specializes in options. Special guest, are you ready in the back? Can I get a thumbs up? All right. Welcome to the show, Chris Capri. Chris, how are you doing today? You know what? Go ahead and answer that, but I got an immediate follow-up question for you.
I'm good. Good to see you as well.
Okay, awesome. I absolutely love the jersey. Are you optimistic for next year?
This is more of a homage. So I lived in Montreal for a few years, and so every now and then I just like to pull out the jersey just to, more support. I mean, yeah, they were a great team. I was there in 2014, 2016, so they had a really good run in those years. But it's also just to support, just my time in Montreal. So yeah, I mean,
Gotcha.
The team is team has potential. They've dealt with some injuries and some trades and things like that, but I'll always root for them.
Okay, awesome. I actually made a mistake. Thought that was the Blackhawks jersey, but nonetheless.
Oh no,
Chris, it's been a wild couple of days here. Tell us a little bit about what you think of the market. Look, I'm not going to be able to avoid the question about some of the meme stocks here today, so you can touch on that if you want. But talk about where we're at with the broader market here, kind of what you're seeing, and then ultimately, how do you actually position your options trades to take advantage of this market?
Yeah, great question. So we can start with the high level, and then we can kind of drill down more into what I'm in right now and what I think is moving for this week. So situationally, we have a couple of important events coming up. We have CPI tomorrow, and then we have the May OPEX. And so for me, everything is about flows and positioning. My whole system is simply boiled down to PFP, positioning, flows, and price action. And options is where I can get the greatest clarity of that. Shares, I can look at the dome and I can see, some trades coming in and coming out, but I don't know if they're adding to that particular level or not. I don't know if they're new positions or anything like that, With options, I can tell every single day how much has been added at a particular strike, how much is coming in, how much is coming off the board. And I can also get clues ahead of time as to, hey, we got a May OPEX. We're pretty heavy on the call side. Maybe that's going to pull off, and that's going to weaken the bull case. So what I see happening for us in terms of an environmental condition is that we have a May OPEX that's not huge, but it's decent in size. So that's going to start increasing volatility from today going forward. Every day we get closer to that, those positions are kind of under more and more pressure to come off the board. And so that means you start thinning the positionings out. And so the book gets a little bit thinner. And so that allows volatility to express itself more. So we expect volatility to increase as the week goes on. We pretty much called it yesterday saying, hey, it's going to be a very low volatility session yesterday. Today is picking up a little bit. PPI obviously did kick things around a little bit. But, you know, I think that as the CPI could have a big impact, because if it's a super hot print, then that might kind of play into the higher for longer type theme. If we get a cool print, then I think the bulls will latch on to that and use that as a reason to push. In terms of SPY, you know, right now we have really strong positioning and support at 520, which has held a couple times in the last few sessions, held in the pullback this morning in the PPI. And so that is our top gamma strike. So if you look at all strikes across all expiries, which strike has the highest notional gamma? And that's the TGS right there. That's 520 is the TGS. So it's kind of a gravity point right now that wants to pull the market in. But we think after CPI that could get released and volatility could start to express itself a little bit. So we have that. I think the big thing right now is NVIDIA earnings also next week on Wednesday. AI and chips were the driver of the bull run in the beginning of this year in the first quarter. And so they've started to pick back up a little bit, but they're not overbought like they were going into March. So call skews are still pretty well balanced right now, which means that there's room for them to kind of launch higher. So if we get a positive NVIDIA earnings, I think that could lead to a strong AI push that could drag the market higher with it. If on the other hand, we have a severe miss, then I think you'll probably see a lot of deleveraging in the AI chip space short term. And then I think you'd probably see a pullback in the markets. So that's kind of the big picture of what I see going on right now.
So are you pretty much just waiting for that NVIDIA binary event, or are you positioning in some of these names, either NVIDIA or otherwise, ahead of that print?
Yeah. So we're looking at taking a trade in SMH, which is a semiconductor index. But we want to wait until we get closer to Friday, because those options naturally are going to get cheaper. If SMH goes nowhere for the next 2 days, those options are going to get cheaper just due to theta tax. You know, the theta premium will dilute the value of those long calls and puts. So we are looking at potentially buying an iron condor. Normally, if you think things are going to stay in a range, you would sell an iron condor. We think SMH is going to break out of a range. So it's kind of stuck between like 222 and 224 right now. We think that range gets broken. And positionally, there's room for a move to 230, potentially 235. We're definitely seeing some activity around 230 strikes today. And if it's a miss, then we think there's a room for a move down to 220. So we're going to actually buy a long iron condor, which means that if it breaks out up or down, as long as it does it enough, we make money. And the implied volatility is really cheap right now. So we'd actually get a nice vol premium on that. So that's how we're planning on playing the semiconductor play. Outside of that, we really like finance stocks right now. Finance stocks are looking pretty good. They're attracting good bullish flows like Wells Fargo, JPM, all attracting good flows. They're a little rich. They're getting towards their kind of technical highs. But, we feel like some of them have room for some decent moves over the next few sessions, especially if we get a cool CPI. Then I think finance stocks will do really, really well. We like buying IWM and SPY on dips. Between the two, I think IWM has a little bit more room. So, we talked about top gamma strike. For us, we want to look at top call strike, like where's the highest concentration of calls. And in IWM, we see that around 210. And so that means there's room. It's at 206 and 3/4 right now. So there's room for it to push into that 210 strike. And so, it wouldn't be overbought until we start. We wouldn't see it as overbought until we start getting above 210. So we like buying IWM and dips towards 205. We like SPY towards 520. You can have tight stops on that. Tesla's been attracting good flows today. We have a position in GDX right now. So your compatriot there was talking about gold. We have been seeing increases in flows into gold, particularly into GLD and GDX. GDX is the gold miners ETF. So, we've seen some strong flows in that. So we currently have a position in GDX right now as we speak for our members.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at right now.
13, any follow-up questions on gold or any of the other metals or commodities?
Not in the commodities. I was more curious about what you thought with these big Mag 7 names, just kind of seeing rotation of trading among themselves, not necessarily exiting these positions in droves like we're hoping they don't, especially with NVIDIA. Do you think we see some of that happen a lot more if we get some of these bigger AI IPOs to start servicing? Do you think we'll see rotation out of those into those names? Maybe Databricks, for example?
Yeah, I think we're kind of, the way I look at the AI cycle as where we are right now, I'm kind of likening it back to the year 2000 and internet. And so I think what's happening right now is that we have, the Mag 7 right now is what's holding up the market. And there's been some fluctuations in and out of Mag 7. Netflix was in it. Now it's out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're going to see over the next few years, you're going to see some stocks will remain and some stocks will fade out of that. Tesla has a chance to fade out of it if it continues to underperform and some of these AI companies continue to perform. But I think where we are, being that it's like 2000 in the internet, Facebook wasn't even invented at that time. And yet 4 years later, along comes a company that now is, a mega cap company. I think that's going to happen in AI as well. I don't think that all the players that we see right now in AI are going to be the leaders in 5-10 years from now. Maybe one or two of them is, but I think there's going to be a lot of companies out there that don't even exist right now that are going to lead in that particular space, particularly because technologies are going to be invented that we don't even fully understand or you can only speculate on right now. So in terms of positioning, I don't see call skews as rich as they were back in March. In March, call skews were super high, which means that traders are bidding out of the money calls very aggressively. That makes them more and more expensive. And so you need higher and higher gains to keep making profits on that. If they stall, they lose money. We're not seeing that quite yet. And so they have, the Mag 7 across the board has decent call skews, but none of them is really in this like overly rich territory. So I think if we get a decent CPI, a bullish CPI, then I think those could continue to lead as they have been. Obviously Meta has been strong. Microsoft has been strong. Google is strong. A lot of these have been doing decent. And NVIDIA is strong. So I think they have the potential to have more upside depending upon NVIDIA earnings and CPI. So it's path dependent. But they're definitely not in the overbought territory like they were back in March.
Really good stuff there. By the way, while we were talking here, SPY, big pullback here.
Yeah.
Looks like it's fading some of those earlier gains, and that's reaching some of the individual names that you were just discussing there. Chris, before we get you out of here, can you talk a little bit about what students can expect to learn from your program? And I'll go ahead and throw in a link to a webinar where we kind of describe all of these different programs. But for those of you that might not know yet, we did get a couple of comments here that I kind of wanted to shout out here. Positioning, flows, and price action. Yep, I'd get along great with Chris. Sounds pretty good there. Lynn saying, thanks for validating our AI outlook, Chris. So can you tell the viewers here what they can expect from your trading school, your option school?
Yeah, so I run two services here in Benzinga. I run the Benzinga option school, and then I run the Trading Waves product. The Trading Waves is just a trade signal service that we have. We started this year. And it's based on my PFP system. It's generally short-term trading, 0 to maybe 15 DTEs. So usually done in a few days. Like we just posted a trade on Citibank that's for this Friday. So generally our trades are short reaching. We're posting about 70% accuracy this year right now. So, we rarely have any losing streaks. I don't think we've ever had 2 back-to-back losing trades. So we tend to go on winning streaks. So we have that product for people who just want to get access to our trades, earn while they learn. But then we have the Benzinga Option School. And that's for people who want to be live with me 3 days a week, live in a class. not just posting their trades, but me analyzing their trades, saying, hey, here's what I'm seeing in the flows right now. Here's what I'm seeing in the positioning right now. It's really just me kind of at first I explain the options market from like zero to hero. Like we go from the most basic stuff all the way to the most advanced stuff, like dealer hedging impacts and how that's going to influence the market on the day. So we go through all of that in the course itself, but I'm live with them 3 days a week, and they get a chance to ask me questions about their trades. And they'll be like, hey, I'm thinking about XYZ trade. I want to buy this call. What do you think? And I will literally tell them, like, look, if I'm in this position, I will take this trade, but here's how I'll do it. Or if I don't like it, I'll just be like, no, I wouldn't take this trade, and here's why. And so then students get a chance to really see kind of my thinking process in the PFP. They see me execute trades in real time in the live classes, and they get a chance to kind of learn as well. So it just depends on what path people want to take. If they want to learn how to do advanced options trading, learn the PFP system, they do the Benzinga option school. And if they just want the trades, they would sign up for the Trading Wave service.
Okay. Really awesome stuff there, Chris. Again, I went ahead and posted a link to sign up for the Benzinga Universe webinar where you can learn more about Chris and all of the services. Chris, I'm going to get you out of here. One last question here. We've got a viewer here asking repeatedly, do you have any thoughts on LNG, which is, of course, Cheniere? If you want to relate that to natural gas, please feel free.
Yeah, let me pull up a chart real quick. Energy's been tracking a little bit of energy, no pun intended, lately in terms of flows. So let me look at flows, positioning. So price action wise, we've obviously been muted since mid-February. I'm leaning towards a breakdown just on price action alone. It's been kind of dragging lower, and the bounces off of, you could say 155 have been getting weaker and weaker. Let's take a look at flows on the day. Flows on the day are kind of mixed, leaning bearish. Let's take a look at positioning. So where are we at? We're at 155. So the big strikes that stand out to me is 150, which is a huge strike. And then you have a pretty solid strike at 160, and bulls are kind of tapped out at 165. So where are we at? We're sub 160. So below 160, puts are in control positionally. When puts are in control, that means volatility has a greater chance to express itself. There's a greater chance to drift to the downside. In terms of max target, I think downside max target for the bears will be 150. That could be over a few sessions, maybe, January or the June OPEX. But I don't see much positioning beyond that. So it tells me they're saying, hey, we think this can get down to 150, but we don't think it can get down much below this. If we did, we'd bet that, and they're not betting that. So I'm leaning towards drift to the downside. And if it continues to drift and it loses 155 this week, then I think that would put pressure on a downside move towards 150.
Okay. Real good stuff, folks. He is Chris Capri, runs the Options School and Trading Waves. Chris, thanks so much for your time. Let's have you back here. I'd love to get your opinion on what we see after this craziness kind of shakes itself out of the market.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'd love to come back anytime.
All right, folks, smash up the like for our guy, Chris Capri. Chris, take care. We will bring him back. Again, an options wizard. If you're looking to expand the tools that you have in your options trading toolbox, definitely check out Chris's program. Dude is an absolute whiz. So awesome stuff there. Really appreciate the time. Let's check back in on this market. 13, what did I miss?
It seems like you missed some volume fading in a lot of these names. CTNT was the one I was trading while we were talking with Chris. That had a nice move over VWAP. Looks like it might try to push higher here. Other than that, just kind of watching things kind of go sideways or sell off. What's the chat been seeing? It's pretty much, and I think it's been pretty much the same thing for them too.
Crow here on CTNT, you're absolutely right. It looks like it's just trying to take the top end of this out here. We've got that at about 486. We'll see if we end up doing that. A lot of laughing at GME here as this looks like this is going to roll over. Sure looks like we might actually fall out here on GME. So this kind of slowing down here. Powell is still talking. I don't see anything crazy or any highlights coming out of here. If you guys have anything, definitely let me know. We'll take a look at some of the other stocks that we had from the list here that's moving. SYRA back at its VWAP, unable to take it out yet. We'll see if that ends up materializing. Where's AMC at? I feel like I haven't pulled that up in a little bit here. AMC also rolling over here. Looks like this is going to try for some more downside.
Looks like for GME, if we lose 45, that's going to probably accelerate some selling 45 seems to be the big support level right now.
Lion Atlas has proclaimed that the day is done. The day
you know what?
The day is over here at 10:45.
He did great. He did great with his two with FMC and the minerals one. I believe it was H.
Is FMC just continuation, or was there a new trade there? I know that's just kind of holding in from yesterday. GME looking like 48 test to the downside coming up here.
FMC. This is one that I'm swinging it into more upside, so I'm just kind of taking it off as it goes up. But I also have it in my long-term account because I'm waiting for it to go get to 100, so it'll be a little while before that happens.
Okay, GME lost 48 briefly there and lost it again. Looks like we're going lower here. Wisdom, have a great day. Thanks for all of your support and all of your kind words and all of your trades, Wisdom. Have a great one.
Take care, Wisdom. And yeah,
go ahead.
Say Sydney. T-Bio still hasn't been noticed yet for that reverse split.
Can't even pull that one up.
I think it will be at some point, though. Not, we'll trade it when that happens. But that was just kind of shouting that out because they were doing a reverse split, so could get going. That's why I wanted it on watch lists.
SPCE. This is Virgin Galactic. Looks like this might actually break lower here too. Yeah. Lululemon. I'm still thinking we're going to get a bounce play here in Lululemon. Just unsure when that's going to happen, especially if the consumer continues to weaken. TUP looks like this might roll over a little bit here. SPWR still kind of trading sideways.
Well,
BYND is that gave up that little pop that it had, gave that back here. Lion Atlas saying he's happy he took the short side of GME. Lion Atlas, that's you got more stones than I would not have tried to short this, but that one clearly working out. This actually might flush if it breaks down. Remember though, on GME, this thing can do whatever it wants. I'm not gonna. DJF said I'll try and predict the future and be generous when I say GME under 35 on Friday, maybe under 20. So it looks like traders expecting this to move to the downside. We've seen this before, and it can absolutely rip. Someone else mentioned if Roaring Kitty needs to get, we just need Roaring Kitty to X out his position. I think you mean, I guess it's not a tweet.
There's no fundamental trade with T-Bio whatsoever. It's all just on the reverse split, technicals and algos. It's nothing more than that. So I think the earnings are not something to consider with that because we've traded plenty of these reverse split names and they had garbage fundamentals. So that whole T-Bio thing has no fundamental trade whatsoever. It's just these buzzwords, these key things that these algos pick up. Hey, the stock reverse split. It's now, this price at this float, buy it up on the next catalyst. So that's really all T-Bio needs is just the next catalyst.
And GME, just when it was looking like it was going to roll over, get a little bit of a bounce there, bounced about $1. All right, let's check the Twitter streets. Remember, we do have Anne Marie coming on here in about 10 minutes.
Jay Rice, I'm not buying it to hold it. We're just trading it. And sure, if good fundamentals come across the news feed, then that'll be one of the catalysts. But even if it has garbage catalysts, it's still trading. It's still in compliance with NASDAQ, and there could be a catalyst that could move the stock. It wouldn't be warranted because it's not a great company, as you pointed out. But if it has that volume and it has that movement as a result of the reverse split, that's the whole thesis behind trading it, not for the fundamentals whatsoever. I agree. It is a garbage company fundamentally.
Twitter seems to be looking at or Twitter X, whatever you guys want to call it, seems to be looking at the same stocks that we are here. AMC, DJT, GME, and Reddit. Those seem to be the four biggest mentioned names that I've seen from Twitter so far.
CNT still hasn't
what else
done that breakout yet. It moved over VWAP, came back down to test it, still holding it right now.
MTC pushing higher here. Rockets Rocket finally getting some movement. Look at Rocket actually traded up here today, 13, actually taking another leg up here. This is after yesterday where it held its gains.
So the level for Nicholas, the big level for Rocket was 15. If you go to a daily chart, and I'll even bring one in here to have Ryan post, so I can show you what I'm talking about. There's this range that it has been trading up into since I think the end of last year, and ever since it gets up into that range, it gets rejected, goes right back below 13. As soon as it comes back up, it gets back into this range, and if it gets up to 15, that's where the rejection level happens. But this particular range has been something I've been watching for a very long time, about 4 months now. And it's now breaking through it for the first time since it's been trading with that into that range. I'll post this for Ryan to share with you guys.
Much appreciated. GME holding 49. We'll see if it retakes 50 here. Where did you post that here?
In the happy hour chat.
Gotcha. Let me grab that real quick. All right, so here is the level that 13 is talking about.
Yeah, so that purple range there, that's we traded up into that in late December, got rejected as soon as we hit the top of that range. But so that's how I came up with it, was I used some of those levels in between the top and where we broke into. So this range has been important for trading Rocket. We did have an inverse head and shoulders at one point after that initial drop, came back up into this range, got rejected again. Now we're following this trend line, this pink trend line as support, coming back up again, getting into this range. This was going to be the one where I thought, okay, well, we're visiting again pretty soon, a much shorter time period than the last visit, and we're getting some pretty wild volatility in the market. It could push through. It looks like it has. We're at 1552 now. I don't know how high this goes, but this is going to be one of those things where when you look to the left and you start seeing the big consolidation areas, that's going to be where I would expect there to be some selling. So first off, if I look to the left, you can see that 1625 seems to be a level previously when it was selling off. That was back in May of 2021. So I'm going to start right there with 1625, and I'm going to go up to the next level that I can see that had some support, which was in August of 2020. So I'm going to start with that range there and see what happens with that range. Now, I don't think this is going to be something that it's set in stone, but that's just what I'm going to start with, since those are two clearly defined levels that I can see here. And we'll see what happens with that price action. So for now, the big level that I wanted to get over was 15. And I'll see about taking some profit there if we get to 1625.
And just to be clear, you want this to close above 15, right? Like the fact that we popped above 15 and a half here, you want this candle to close, this daily candle to close. Yeah, it'll be the first time in a while that we've had a close above 15. If you could look at the daily chart, we had some closes, a couple of them, and then the very next day we just dropped right out of this thing. So I want to see multiple closes, at least 3 above 15. So far, it's looking pretty good. We might even hold 15 with this kind of move, because this broke through a very important resistance level. So next thing I'm going to be looking for is 15 to hold. SPWR still trading sideways here. Crow, I know that you're looking for this to trade back up to 5. VWAP currently at 477. We'll see there on SPWR. CTNT still on the relative volume scanner as it's doing a decent job holding above its VWAP. GME looks like it's consolidating here. What is this range that we have here for GME real quick? About between 47 and 50. Getting a little bit of consolidation there in GME. That big rush from this morning looks to be done, at least so far. We'll see if Twitter ends up jazzing that up here again. AMC has continually used the VWAP as resistance. What we want to see in order to move through this would be a move through it on volume. The volume looks like it's trying up again. That could change at any point in the afternoon. Some of the other meme names, BYND, this is actually up off of its VWAP and moving towards the highs, but it has still been unable to take out the edge of that range. Plug Power, this was not part of the meme name, but this continues to move down here. after that little pullback. And Virgin Galactic, once losing its VWAP, which it used as support all morning, has had trouble reclaiming that so far.
I think stay focused. Hey, let's make money together in Rocket. Why not? I think Stay Focused and I both are kind of like, on this Rocket thing, especially with the information he was providing yesterday about how there's this fund being proposed. It's similar to FDIC, where it's going to help service. It's going to help with mortgage servicers. So it's like kind of FDIC type fund for mortgage servicers.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. It's not going to be funded by taxpayers. It's going to be funded by other mortgage servicers.
GME here curling back up towards 50. We'll see on GME. See if that ends up taking out 50 and get rolling here. I'd like to see the volume really kind of increase for that, to be quite honest with you. And then TUP was probably the other one from the list of meme names, right? That still also using its VWAP as resistance there.
It seems like some of these names are starting to,
1 sec, 13. One more time. Last time. BRB.
No worries. Seeing some of these names start to. Has anybody else seen this? We're kind of buying these. It seems like some of these names are getting bought back up again. CTNT looks like that's happening there. It needs to get through this 42 wall, and then it can get going. Hollow seems like it's trying to get through VWAP, so there's that one. What else? Rocket to 1557. Now it's pulling back a bit. BOC. This is an old Boston Omaha Corp. This is from yesterday. It looks like that one's getting some. Not really. Never mind. Ignore that one. SPWR. Is that one moving again? SPWR. It looks like it's trying to make another go at VWAP. So 477, 478 gets back up there. We'll see what happens. What else are we looking at? CLSK. Ooh, that was a nice one. They had some good earnings too. Where's this one at now? Okay, so this one's been down since their earnings. All
right, sorry about that, 13.
No worries.
Sorry.
No, it's right. I was just mentioning CLSK. This one was like over 20 last month. So I guess the earnings that I was just mentioning were good. Don't seem to be as good as I thought. Let me see what they were anyway. Because I'd like Clean Spark. I think that was one of the better names.
Stay focused. Good morning. Yeah, sorry we missed that. It was a little bit wild here. But thanks for joining us. And good morning. Hope you're also printing and having a great day here. And don't forget, 1 minute here, we're going to have Anne-Marie on. We will talk about some options trades. And I know all you folks want, but we will ask her about the meme craze. We'll see what she has to say about it.
So it looks like Clean Spark, it had great earnings. It's just, I guess it's down because Bitcoin's down. I guess that would be the only explanation.
All right. 13, another fun day here. Really good job with everything. I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to the happy hour tonight. You gonna have another glass of Balvenie today?
Maybe. I only had one yesterday because I didn't have to go pick up my son from school, but I do today. So
priorities. Gotcha. All right. Have a good rest of your afternoon. We will follow up with you tomorrow and see where we stand.
Bye, everybody.
I'm willing to bet we're going to have another big day tomorrow. Take care, 13. Great to have you. All right. Now we welcome on Anne-Marie Band. Anne-Marie, how are you doing here today? Let me fix the view here. How are you doing amongst the meme madness, as we call it? You are muted. It's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. I do that daily.
Sorry about that. Yeah, it's been crazy. It reminds me of the old days.
We've seen this movie before, haven't we?
We certainly have. And it's certainly not as insane as it was in times past, but it's pretty crazy. And of course it's got a lot of people in a kerfuffle over it, but it's whoever's got the highest short interest, look out, right?
Well,
Roaring kitty hits the road.
yeah, it also appears that depending on who tweets and what they tweet might depend on what's going on here. Evidently, as we were giving you the welcome there, Roaring Kitty has tweeted, so GME likely going to go crazy in a little bit here. Anyway, so what do you have? I know we were kind of going back and forth a little bit this morning about how some of the meme stuff can really kind of be distracting from the regular market, might be distracting the individual trader, but then also other traders as well. How do you make sense of days like today, and frankly yesterday? And what are you looking at on these days?
So for me, and let me make this big so we can actually see what it's been doing through the morning and the last couple of days. For me, I ignore the craze. Mostly, I have a little heartburn because in 2020, when things just went kaboom, and we moved into that era of an unbelievable amount of money just getting flushed into the market. My knowledge of what's normal stopped me from making any money in that craze. And so I have a little bit of heartburn there, because if I'd been smart enough to put my preconceived notions to the side and just traded price, I'd have been in great shape. But instead, I was like the deer in the headlights. And so,
well, let me stop you there, if you don't mind. I'm glad that you said that, because the first time that this happened, I was very similar. I was like, I've seen crazy stuff here before. I think that the move for me is to just, kind of, since I can't make sense of it, just kind of remove myself from it. I couldn't get rid of my preconceived notions. I couldn't get rid of the lessons that I had learned leading up to that. That made it difficult to, in my opinion, made it a little bit more difficult to trade.
100%. And a lot of us that were sort of the seasoned traders in the room, we did have that sense of, well, when this ends, it's going to end badly.
Yeah.
We just kept thinking it was going to end badly way earlier than when it actually ended badly.
Exactly.
So, the key event for that is there's a special skill. If you're already got a good knowledge base, there's a special skill to trade these sorts of things. But the one place that is very hard to trade them and make money is in the option chains. And I want to show you why.
Okay, please do.
So unless things move insanely, here are what the stats are for the day. We have 128,000 calls. We have 139,000 puts. So essentially it's 50-50, right? There's not really, when you're dealing in 10,000s, another 10,000 isn't going to matter, right? And so that's essentially what we're looking at, the difference there. So when we look at that, the first thing we have to see is how expensive is it for the market maker to offer us an option? And so I want you to look over. Here are the things that we normally look at. The implied volatility today is 670%. And it's actually increased by 30 points since we opened this morning. So what does it tell you? It tells you that the market maker is hedging tremendously so that he's not caught holding the bag. So what does that mean for us? Well, it means that no matter what we choose, chances are it's going to be very, very expensive. Take a note. Where I have highlighted here we'll go to this one. Look at the 30 puts. Open interest before today began, right? This is concurrent. So here's the open interest, $4.80 if you want to buy it, $1.50 if you want to sell it. So that means the following. If I buy it at 480 and immediately go, uh-oh, sorry, I shouldn't have done that, and I try to sell it, I immediately lose the difference between the two. The spreads, you could drive a truck through. Now, notice something also very interesting. You slip over to the 25s and the 24s, and their spread is much closer, 10 cents. So something about this pocket of positions right here versus the ones, the 30 just repriced all of a sudden. So
GME just opened out of halt, which is why you're probably getting changes in those numbers. Literally just unhalted and is moving higher here, looking for 54.
Okay, so that's really what we're seeing. You're going to pay so much to get involved, and that is because the guys behind the scenes are saying, I got to hedge my bets, or I'm going to be feeding the pigeons this afternoon in the park. And so remember how we price that in. We add how much it would cost to buy it on the put side and how much it would cost to buy it on the call side. And that number looks like $29. And so notice the market makers have 30 up here. That's what they think the potential of spread might be. So for you to make money in this stock and say, I don't know which way it's going to go, but I think it's going to go one of those ways, you literally can't buy a strangle unless, you essentially want to lose money for the day. So the key event is when you see volatility, implied volatilities this high, unless you've got insider information, and Ron and I don't want to know about any of that.
Nope.
You need to just sit back and watch the fun, or buy or sell the action on your own. And that's it for those things. I suspect that the days of making a tremendous amount of money buying the far out of the money calls going to be much more difficult in times past. Now, if we'd have talked on Friday about this, which apparently Roaring Kitty said something on Friday. I don't know if you know.
Apparently the first tweet was there. I'll be honest, I don't follow that whole saga, so I can't tell you exactly when it happened. I was kind of getting it secondarily, but it appears the first one was on Friday.
So if somebody came out and went, oh my goodness, it's one of those, and it was $20, and you went out and bought the 50s, you're in Fat City right now, right?
Oh yeah.
So that certainly is something that you can do. But unless, again, you're tied into the community and you know it, it's better just to say, listen, I know that party's going on in there and I hear they are having a blast, but I'm going to go over here to the library so I don't get in trouble over there. Because the second I walk in the door, somebody's going to go, the cops are here. And then we know what that does to a party.
Sounds like a lesson I should have learned in college, Anne Marie. Stay at the library instead of the house parties that the cops inevitably show up to. But here we are.
Me too, my friend. Me too. Sad to say. So that being said, if we want to take a look at how the broad market is behaving according to this space, Powell was just on.
Mm-hmm.
And did he just finish? He just finished, right?
I don't see him talking anymore. They had it playing here on CNBC. I think it's done.
Yeah. So he's finished, and the market got very excited about what he had to say. And then we gave everything back, and now we're sloshing around again. And in that space, we can see that it's pretty much hodgepodge right here. We don't see a ton of green. We don't see a ton of red, but what we notice is it's a risk-on event in general because consumer staples are down, industrials are down, and I'm not really sure why Amazon's taking a little bit of a beating today, but we can see the left side looking fairly green, and the right side looking a little bit red. And so before I hop in, I want to know if there's anything in particular that caught your fancy that you might want to talk about today, where you felt, hey, let's take a look at this.
Yeah, I think probably Tesla would be the first one
Very
that comes
good.
to mind. Tesla's really put in some decent moves recently. We also had news at the beginning of the week about China saying, don't buy. Or that was Nvidia. I'm sorry, I'm mixing that up there. I'm mixing up the newsprints there. But Tesla still price action here alone. I would select Tesla. I would say
Okay,
Nvidia would be my second one.
So interestingly, what do you think about this being the reason, quotations, that Tesla's moving? Could it be that the 100% tariffs that the Biden administration put out on EVs has got this pumping?
That's exactly what it is. I mixed up the two. I mixed up the two news catalysts there. One was for Nvidia, one was for Tesla.
Yeah. And so this is what I'm thinking also. So what is the flip side of what might be happening here? First of all, China's probably going to come out and say, holy cow, we're going to retaliate. And that's probably going to hurt us a little bit more because we have a fever pitch to buy so many of their products that are simply much cheaper than the products that we can maintain here. So that being said, I think there's going to be a little tit for tat moving around here. But the question is, does Tesla have enough juice for us to get the squeeze out of a good trade? And so how would I do that? First thing I'm looking at here, I'm going to look at the highest volume on the daily formation. And I'm going to, how'd your conversion go to Thinkorswim? Did you do all right?
I did perfectly. I didn't lose a single thing. I got all my workspaces, all of my previous drawings, and all of my indicators. I logged in Monday. All I had to do was tell the app that I was logging in Charles Schwab. Everything worked. I had to accept some disclosures. That was it.
Oh, my
I
heart.
felt so bad. What's funny, Anne Marie, is we actually had mixed reports of that morning too. There were others that had Thinkorswim that really had trouble. And then there was a whole swath of the chat here that said, nope, no problems at all.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so happy to hear it. So if we take a look at Tesla, here's what I did. I drew a Fibonacci that retraced down, and I drew a Fibonacci that retraced up. And so this is going to give us some ideas about where the collision points might be. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to add the 214. Let's add a curve. 2.14. Whoopsie, 2.141. And I'm going to leave that one in red, right?
Okay.
Notice the 214 extension to the downside is almost exactly where this chart turned around. So I suspect that what I have is motion that's potentially going to push us up into the 185 area, which is the low of the highest volume candle in recent history. So that's going to be our target zone. All right. The question is going to be, how shall we trade this? Right. So I'm going to look for the cross above, and we're going to look at all the different ways that we can trade this if the chart does what it's supposed to do. And then we have to think about, well, how long will it take us to do it? Okay. So let's go safe first, which is always my favorite way to go because I'm a grandma. So let's go to
First time I've heard that one, honestly, Anne Marie. First time I've heard that one.
All right. So let's think about this. Let's say that the price action moves all the way up into 185 and it holds the low action event of 168 where it moved on the pullback down. Okay. So the easiest way with the most reward and the least risk, and I'm looking at risk less, is to say, all right, I'm going to take the floor of that short put and I'm going to go to the 160 area and it's going to give me $1.67. All right. So what that gives me is the short put vertical that says, listen, if I do nothing, I make money. Or I could collapse all the way down to my old support area where we have a fair bit of buying and a good bit of support from an old resistance zone. Or I can run up the rails. Either of those, I'm going to make money. So that is the most conservative space, the short put spread. Now, let's get a little more aggressive. Let's say we think this thing's going to 185. Now, we don't think it's going to go much higher than 185. So it could be 190. But we like butterflies to have a fair bit of width. So maybe we take the middle strike at 193. It's not our standard 10 points that we would normally do in a butterfly, but we have this 193.33. And if we sell a standard butterfly and give it, I don't know, maybe give it 8 points, it might cost us, that's seven points. So we have 8 points on the upside, 7 points on the downside. It costs us $1.28. And it is also a bullish formation. And what we have to do is say, listen, as long as this gets to 185, we're very likely to double our money because we are so close to the actual price of the stock. Okay, so we want to do that. We have to put an alert at the 193 area. And let me, 194, 193. Here we go. I don't know which one that is, but it doesn't matter. Above. Right? That's what we're looking at for that space. Okay? Now, if you want to say, I think this thing is going to get really pumped to the upside and it's going to go crazy, then you look at that old resistance area at the 200 zone and you consider buying it for 365. For these last two, price action must move in the direction of the trade or we will lose money. For the first one, price doesn't have to do anything. That's why it's the most conservative. You can also do something that's a little bit more aggressive. It's called a broken butterfly, and you can use that 185. You might want to go down to 195, and you would sell 3 of them instead of 2. And then you can go down to maybe 205 and buy 2 of those. That's actually for a credit. So here's how that one would work.
Now, that last buy that you have there, you have 20 contracts. Is this part of the broken wing that you're trying to set up? Okay,
yes.
So I wanted to make that distinction clear here, because what you're doing for the broken wing is you're actually doing the same space from the wing to the body, but you're actually sizing the wing and or the body a little bit differently. And I don't think we've seen that out of one of these trades yet.
Yeah. So a typical broken butterfly will have 2 things that look different. One, it could have a super fat body. That means we would have 3 or more. And then just so long as the outside strikes add up to the same amount in the middle, you're good. The next way you could do it is something like, hey, I'm going to use, instead of 205, I'm going to do 200. just in case this thing goes off the rails, son of a gun, hang on, folks. I'm going to use the 200s. Now it's only 95 cents, but the risk is gone because you're making 10 points on the upside, losing 5 points on the downside, but you've got twice as many on that upside space. So, excuse me, on the downside space, so it's going to be flat. So the most you can lose here, because this distance, 200 to 195, is 1/2 of the distance of 185 to 95, the max loss is going to be how much you pay for it. So all kinds of ways to do that. My thought is this I like a ton because not only are you getting it for credit, if it moves into 195 and stalls, you're going to make a boatload of cash. So we actually did this in the Benzinga Pro platform with ARM. We did this with ARM into the earnings. And so let me show you what happened. I was thinking ARM would fall off a cliff. I was. But
it looked like it was going to.
I said to myself, well, you know how you are with luck. You're not very good. So why not play both sides? And I was thinking to myself, you know what? It was all the way down here, I think, when we positioned. No, we positioned here. Super low. I said, you know what? Let's go to 110. That's old resistance. 110 to 115. And let's choose 116 for good measure because it fills the gap. And wouldn't you know it, we got the ARM from 110 to 115, and we'd gotten it for a credit. We got to sell it for $1.20 yesterday. So it was a monster win. This was a broken butterfly, but notice it's got the same 1 to 2 to 1, but it's called a broken one because there's only 6 points of upside, but 9 points of downside. And so we closed it when it jammed into 116 because that's the goal of the trade. So let's go back to Tesla and take a look at this, giving you several ways to trade the same direction. All right. So this is, hey, if everything goes great, it goes to the upside. This is, hey, if everything goes great, it goes to the upside. Hey, if everything goes great, it goes to the upside. If, for happenstance, you want to consider, well, what if it doesn't do that? Then I would say wait for the price action to deliver what it is that you think is going to be there, right? And so if you're looking at this and you go, wait a second, here's how we work out every single trade we do. We go, wait, what is the trend? Well, the big trend is down, but in the near term, it's moving up. This is my 14. So we've got some sort of bigger mean reversion going on. And let's add a moving average. Oh, I can't believe you didn't have any trouble. I'm so happy, but I'm very sad for myself.
I know. I actually felt bad because I talked to several people who really did have trouble, including you. And I was like, I don't know how I escaped this, but
good on you. Okay, so let's make this what do we think it is? Let's look at where the 50 is on this one. 50 simple moving average. Perfect, right? Look at what it's trying to do. What is the slope of this formation? It's down, but it really is trying. And if you use a moving average cross as an indicator to go long, it's telling you, pump the brakes, dude. You don't need to be shorting anything right now. Let the chart exhaust into its resistance zones before you try to go short. So my suspicion is give the chart time to move. And if you're looking for a short, wait for it to collapse under this range before you take a trade that has time as one of its elements, as our options chains do. It's just super simple stuff I like to look at. I go, hey, listen, am I above? Is that moving average up? Am I above that moving average? Is my momentum green? Well, I'm not touching it. I'm just not touching it for the long action. So that's it for that one. Oh, we spent a long time talking about that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. But we also kind of joked around with the topical stuff that's going on here.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Okay, so if you just want to recap this trade for me again, real quick, make it as brief as possible, then we can close out with your closing thoughts here on the week. I know we still have some more data coming this week that might lead to some more trades, and we'll cover those on Friday.
Yes.
Real quickly here. So for the Tesla trade here, why we're putting this on, the catalyst behind it, the profit possibilities, and the risk involved.
Okay, so we're putting it on because the Biden administration, from a fundamental side, news side, the Biden administration has come out and put significant tariffs on competition to electric vehicles coming from out of the States, particularly China. On top of that, we have technical observations that are telling us, listen, this chart is trying to make a recovery. That recovery is showing from a break up above the 50 simple moving average and a positive slope on the exponential 14. We're also looking at positive momentum here. And so things are saying, hey, listen, we could have ourselves a little pop, particularly into the beginning of the month and old resistance zones. That's what's frameworked the position. The amount of risk we have, the goal is, can the chart get from 185 to 190? And we'll be in great shape there. If the chart does nothing, the short put spread will deliver the most impact. If the chart does just exactly what we want, but stalls out at 193, a standard butterfly will easily double our money because we're so close to the actual price of the stock. And if we're looking for the broken butterfly where we have to pay no money and it gives us a credit, it will use some margin, but it gives us a credit of 71 cents. We're going to make money if it moves up over 185. But indeed, if this does nothing, if it sits and price action goes nowhere, because we sold it for credit, we're still going to make money.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff here, Anne-Marie. We're going to check, but like I said, we're going to check back in on this on Friday when I have you back here. We'll see what new trades get put on. In the meantime, enjoy the show. Stay safe and enjoy the show out there. It's wild stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mania. Okay, everybody, smash up the like for Anne-Marie. Awesome stuff. Be sure to check her out in Benzinga Pro. Anne-Marie, can't thank you enough. We'll see you on Friday. Take care, everybody, and live trading will be back tomorrow.